2012, Lakers teammates and legends Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol would temporarily turn into opponents when they were bidding against each other at a charity event for the racehorse Siempre Mío, which means always mine. Forgive me for my pronunciation, my Spanish is horrible, but I'm doing my best. Kobe Bryant would eventually win that bidding war at $8,000, but then Santa Anita Park CEO Mark Verge offered Pau Gasol to have 25% interest in ownership if he would donate the money to charity, which he did. So Kobe and Pau went back to being teammates and actually co-owners of the horse. And even though Siempre Mío would lose its debut race and eventually was claimed by an ownership group that also included then Saints quarterback Drew Brees, this shoe is coming out to celebrate that story as well as the brotherhood and friendship between Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. Nike Kobe 8 EXT Protro Siempre Hermanos. And this shoe is dropping on April 24th for $200. Siempre Hermanos means always brothers, obviously representing the friendship between Pau Gasol and Kobe Bryant. This is also an EXT Kobe 8, so that's supposed to mean extended lifestyle. So the idea was that you could wear the EXT Kobe 8s like casually as a lifestyle sneaker. And this is also a Protro version of the Kobe 8. So if you didn't know, Protro means performance retro. Kobe Bryant actually coined that term, so he didn't just want to bring back and retro his shoes, he wanted to update them. So he came up with Protro, and first impressions of the shoe, I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I think the Kobe 8s generally are a pretty nice looking Kobe shoe. It is not my favorite. My favorite still remains either the Kobe 1s or the Kobe 4s, just in terms of the shape, how it looks. I really still like the 2K4s, 2K5s, even though technically those weren't Kobe Bryant shoes, but he was the face of them. Kobe 8s are generally pretty nice, but I'm not too sure how I feel about the colorway. I will say as you get older, you just tend to like brown and tan colored shoes, so the base I do like with the dark brown and tan color, but all the other colors, just in a vacuum, I'm not sure if I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And in terms of the box, nothing too special. Kind of disappointing there. I wanted like a more custom box to get home the storytelling of the shoe, but just a black Nike Kobe box with Mamba paper inside. And the materials on the shoe, this is actually all suede on the base layer. So because it is an EXT version of the Kobe 8, it's supposed to be for like lifestyle and casual use as well. This material is supposed to be slightly more upscale, feel a little bit better than just like engineered mesh. And I will say the suede here does actually feel decent, especially for a Nike basketball shoe. Most Nike basketball shoes from like this era going forward uses like synthetic materials. Synthetic type of materials usually has like weight savings, durability advantages. So it makes sense for a performance shoe, but it does feel pretty nice to feel like suede on a Kobe 8. And you will see on the lateral and medial sides of the shoe, there is like extra kind of panels and cutouts that doesn't exist on a regular Kobe 8. And that has some ventilation there. And the swoosh here, that is like embroidered onto the shoe. So it's not like printed on just like a Kobe 8. The Kobe 8 Protro Halo does also have like an embroidered swoosh. And the swoosh here, the material is like fur that plays into the whole like horse racing theme. And one thing to note here, on the insoles, which I'll get to later, there is like a message, like a sticker that says there is genuine fur that's used on this shoe. Now on the heel, on the medial side of the shoe, that swoosh, that is not fur, that is just like embroidered onto the back there. And then moving up the tongue, it is suede again. You will see a custom lace debray in the shape of a horseshoe. So in the middle, you get the Mamba logo that is supposed to represent a sword in its sheath. Kobe Bryant did get the Black Mamba nickname from Kill Bill, so that's the inspiration there. And on the horseshoe itself, it says Siempre Hermanos, and then moving up to the tip of the tongue, you'll see again the Mamba logo that is also embroidered into the tongue. And the shoe does come with one extra set of laces in this ice blue, baby blue color. And between the two, I actually think the blue pops quite a bit, looks pretty nice. I don't have a strong preference between the tan and the blue, so it's whatever you prefer. I do like that they give you an extra sit here. Then moving around to the booty of the shoe, you will see a Mamba logo that's like debossed into the back, as well as this ice blue stitching that again plays into the whole storytelling horse racing theme of the shoe. It doesn't have like Kobe Bryant's signature. It is not like TPU on the back here, so it lacks a bit of that extra solid support. And in terms of the cushioning, the Kobe Protro does replace the old Lunarlon with a drop-in React foam midsole, so it's supposed to increase in durability as well as responsiveness. Now personally, for performance shoes, I don't love drop-ins. I just prefer a more traditional setup. The benefit of a drop-in is the idea is that it's very close to your foot, so that's supposed to increase responsiveness. The step-in comfort on a drop-in is actually pretty nice as well, and because it's a full-length kind of drop-in, the impact absorption is spread pretty evenly throughout your foot. But I do feel like when it comes to drop-ins, there's just a slight kind of lag time between when you push off and when you feel like that energy return back. Obviously, kind of nitpicking. And the drop-in here, the biggest complaint that I have is the scales on the shoe. So one thing that this drop-in does do is it kind of keeps your foot in place. The scales help because it increases that type of friction, so your foot doesn't like slide around compared to like a more regular insole. However, those scales, when you try to put your foot in, the friction is just too much. It holds your sock in place, so you're really stuffing your foot in while your sock won't move. So that's super annoying. I wish they would change that up, but it is what it is. And one thing they've also added to this drop-in is this lateral tape that's also meant to increase durability. So when you're moving from like side to side, high kind of friction movements, it doesn't rip that drop-in. There is no zoom in on the Kobe Protros because Nike are cheap. So you just get this drop-in, React replaces Lunarlon, and on the heel here, on the midsole, you'll see that Mamba code, and that says Chase Perfection. Now in terms of the traction of the Kobe 8, majority herringbone traction, it's always been very good. You will see the scales though on the lateral side of the shoe, they've changed it up so it faces a different direction, but on court, even on a pretty dusty court, it feels decent. These kind of translucent outsoles though does tend to attract dust a bit more, so you might have to wipe your feet a bit more. However, in a decently maintained gym, this does work really well. I will say, do not use these outdoors. It is not like the strongest type of rubber. You'll wear this down pretty quickly, and the herringbone, you're gonna get quite a few rocks like stuck between the pattern there. And of course on the outsole view here, you'll also see that carbon fiber shank that provides some torsional rigidity as well as support so your shoe doesn't bend or twist too easily. Really love the addition of carbon fiber shanks in basketball sneakers. It's very lightweight, but it also increases kinetic energy return. So when you push down, the idea is that it helps return energy, as much energy, in the shortest amount of time possible. Now overall support wise, like I said, you don't get that TPU heel counter that usually has the Kobe signature on the back. And in terms of side-to-side support for my weight, for my playstyle, even though it's just suede, it is not like engineered mesh or Flyknit or anything synthetic. However, suede basketball shoes, I think for me, for a lightweight player, still keep my foot in place pretty well. You will see the outrigger of the shoe. It is decent, not the most aggressive. The base is relatively wide as well, so that helps with stability. Overall for me, very lightweight player. I think support is decent. It's not like an absolute tank though. I think the Jordan 40, when I put my foot into that shoe, the support was like superb. One thing that does help though is the core feel for the Kobe 8s. Kobe Bryant really prioritizes like a very low profile kind of shoe, so you can feel the court as much as possible, which brings me to sizing and comfort. I am a wide and flat footer for Kobe shoes. Generally, just no real good solution. He must have like the most slender foot. Like most his sneakers might have to go up half a size, but then it becomes a little bit long, where there becomes a little bit of wiggle room and then heel slippage on the heel. For the Kobe 8s, generally, I do have to go up half a size. For these, the EXT version, I do feel like it's slightly more roomier in the toe box area, so I do recommend, whether or not you have wide and flat feet, just stick true to size. Now comfort wise, if you're using this for casual use, One good thing about that drop-in is it increases, for me anyway, like step-in comfort. Feels pretty good underfoot, but the low-profile nature of a basketball shoe, that's not something everybody loves, especially just walking around. Some people don't like it being so flat, so close to the ground. So just keep that in mind if you're not used to wearing like a basketball shoe for casual purposes. Now, in terms of the weight, another thing Kobe Bryant really prioritized is shaving off as much excess weight as possible. So usually Kobe 8s are very lightweight. If you complain about the weight of this, you must have some very high standards. It is not the lightest basketball shoe you can get on the market. There are some shoes specifically kind of marketing that. This is not it, but it's still, for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, very light. In today's throwback of the day, it is the Kobe 8 EXT Year of the Snake that dropped in 2013. So it comes with these scales on the upper, of course, very obvious storytelling there. It's got a large Mamba logo on the back. I really like this colorway. I don't know if they're gonna keep bringing back more EXT shoes. Actually, there is a black colorway I think that might be coming. I don't know, but I do think this is a very nice shoe. Now, generally for basketball sneakers, I don't give it a sole score. The metrics just don't really translate well, but final verdict of this shoe, I've said it in many Kobe 8 Protro videos and reviews, it is not my first choice if I was going to use these to play ball in. I just think there are better cushioning out there nowadays in 2026. It is still decent, but it's not the best, especially for this price. It is definitely not elite. The traction is good. It is very good actually, so that's one great thing. But I just think for cheaper, you do have better options. I personally would still take like the Sabrina 3s over these. AE 2s I would take over these. The Jordan 40s, if you don't have wide and flat feet, I would take over these. They're not that much more expensive than this. So yeah, there's a few different options I would take over the Kobe 8 Protros, but a lot of people get Kobe shoes in 2026, not purely because of performance, but because of their undying support and love for Kobe Bryant. And I fall into the same boat. So that's it. Thanks for watching. So inclined. Let me know what you think of the Nike 8 Protro EXT Siempre Hermanos. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.